When you see the whole world shaking and you feel your heart is breaking, take my hand, no hesitating. When you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains to how we can climb it. Feel it, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains to how we can climb it. Feel it, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up on me. Don't you give up now. Don't you give up on me. Don't you give up now. Don't you give up on me. Don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening. It's Saturday, March 18th. This one is a pre-recorded video. I'm going out this evening, so this will be shown at 7 p.m., but it's basically a little bit after 3 right now. So I'm Chris Gargiulo. I'm an associate broker for Realty Connect LLC. I'm also a licensed referral specialist for them. And this is my podcast, Real Estate with Mr. G, and it reflects what I do on my blog during the week, realestateWithMrG.blog, and Mr. is MRG. Okay, and so we try to keep you updated with things happening within the real estate industry, the economy, and actually there's a lot going on. Before we get into the heart of the matter, which is balancing your wants and needs in the housing market, we had good news that that jobs were created. I believe it was around 360,000. That's the good news. The bad news is that the Feds, with that news, may think about raising interest rates again, maybe a half a point, maybe a quarter of a point. So when you have good news, you have bad news along with it. Very interesting. Last night at my church, we had a St. Patty's Day celebration, a dinner, and I was talking to one of the parishioners, very smart guy. He works for NASA, and he asked me how the real estate market is going. I said it's picking up because more listings are hitting the market, but buyers are still having a difficult time with high interest rates and high home prices. And I said, with the news that came out first, that was impetus for the Feds to increase the federal funds rate. And we both said it's so strange when you have good news, but then the economy is punished by raising these rates. And maybe there has to be another way to work on inflation instead of just raising Fed funds rate. And I think it's a good point. Not so sure what could be done, but I have some ideas that I'm thinking about and maybe perhaps writing about that may be radical, but there has to be a different way to solve this problem. And it's a shame that with raising interest rates and with the hopes that companies will not hire as many people and people lose their jobs, is that such a good thing? And it isn't a good thing. I guess you look at the two, what's the lesser evil of the two, inflation or a recession? But like I said, there should be another way to solve this problem when you have high inflation. So with that in mind, we had the good news that the bad news. The good news is that the jobs are being created. The bad news is that we have to raise interest rates, all right? But then it was almost the same day that we find out this bank is going to close down, called the Silicon Valley Bank. And the reason why is that they had difficulties with these raising rates. Now, their investments of Silicon Valley Bank, a lot of them were involved with treasury bills. One of the safest investments that people could invest in, right? It's not a stock. It's the American, government. It's America, right? There's more chances that a company will go belly up as opposed to the United States. Well, that could be happening, right? So when the bank originally bought these bonds, these T-bills, interest rates were low. As interest rates go up, the funding about these T-bills, they lose value, right? Okay. Why, I'd rather have a T-bill, that has maybe 4.5%, 5% interest in it, right? That's a better return than one that only offers 2%. So the value of the inventory goes down, okay? And then it hurts the bank, right? Right, because the value is going down there. And I'm assuming, I would have to double check, but I'm sure that's an asset position on the balance sheet. All right, and that goes down. Now the bank is worth less, and then investors get nervous and say, "Well, I didn't have problem with the deposits. I'm going to start taking money out." And what hurts even more is that if the bank needs to borrow more money from the Federal Reserve to replenish their money in the vaults, they have to do it now. So it's not a good thing. So with the fears that other banks may have the same situation, there's a good chance that the Feds won't raise interest rates next week. Or if they do, it will be probably under 50 points, at a quarter of a point. Or maybe not at all. So we'll see what happens. And if that happens, that'll be good news for home buyers because rates won't be going up. In fact, on mortgages, they might actually go down a little bit. Again, as I have stated in many of my podcasts, is that the mortgage rate is not directly affected by the Fed funds rate, but it's kind of like a domino effect. So with that in mind, I go over again what I do, okay? I'm not showing at this point, because of different reasons, I'm kind of semi-retired, to be honest with you. So I'm not going out showing homes or listing homes, but doing marketing for this company, Realty Connect. And you could contact me and we could have a consultation and we could talk about the real estate industry where it is at this moment. But when it comes to actual showing of properties or listing of properties, I could recommend somebody if it's in my area of Hampton Roads, or you could go to my website and be introduced to 2 or 3 agents, and you choose the one that best fits your needs. Okay? There's no cost to me. There's no payment you make to me. All right. I will get a referral fee when the deal is completed. Does not affect you. Does not affect the seller. Does not affect the buyer if it's the other side of the transaction. So to put it in a little nutshell, here's my little intro video. Okay, so hopefully that puts in a nutshell what I do. I could find you a home or list one of your homes anywhere within the United States of America. Now, not me directly, but with my company. Okay, so with that, we're going to talk today about balancing your wants and needs in the housing market. And this is beneficial for the home buyer because of the current economy that we were just talking about. So let's put this up on my stream and make myself nice and small so you could see everything. All right. All right. So again, what today's home buyers are dealing with, they're dealing with high interest rates, fewer homes available. Though I have to say, the last couple of months, I'm seeing more homes hitting the market. So that's a good sign. It may not be where it was pre-pandemic levels, but it's getting better. In fact, even here it says, while the number of homes for sale is increasing, it's still 43.2% lower. That's a lot than it was before the pandemic in 2017 to 2019. So there are fewer homes available to buy than there were a couple of years ago. So with that shortage, we are recommending that you do a couple of things to assure that you get the home that you want. And first of all, very important, get pre-approved for mortgage. This is like one of the biggest hurdles I have to deal with new buyers. And a lot of times I say, well, let me see what's out there first before I get pre-approved. No, don't do that. Just don't do that. Because what's going to happen, we're going to go out and you're going to see the home that you absolutely love. That's how it turns out. Then you go to the mortgage loan officer and you find out perhaps you can't be approved right now. There's some things you have to work out on your credit report. Or you've been approved for, let's say, up to $250,000, but the house is listed at $300,000. So now we have a situation. Now we know beforehand that your top value was $250,000. We wouldn't even have looked at homes that were $300,000 and above. So get that pre-approval. That's very important. Now, there's a little difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval. Pre-qualification is when you call up a loan officer and you say, hey, I make this amount of money a year. I have this amount of money to bank, run my credit, and let's see what you could pre-qualify me for. And based upon that information, if everything falls into row, the mortgage loan officer will write your pre-qualification letter. But the rubber really hits the road when you get pre-approved. And what that means is now you went into the mortgage loan officer's office, you brought in your W-2s, your tax statements, your bank statements, and any other proof of income that you have coming in, whether it's alimony, child support, disability, and you say, here's everything, let's make sure. And now the loan officer will send it down to the underwriters, and they will check everything. They will dot all the I's and cross all the T's and make sure everything is correct. And then they'll say, okay, you're definitely pre-approved right now. See, in the first situation, you're saying, okay, I make $30,000 a year. But then you go in, you might say, oh, when I put all my paperwork together, it's $25,000 a year. Or I'll give you another example, which this one loan blew up for me. We lost the house because he said he made this buyer said he made a certain amount of money a year, and it was true. He didn't make it. But when they looked closely at his W-2s and they got verification, that a good portion of it was commission. Okay. Now you could do very well. I mean, commission is great. Agents work purely on commission. But when it comes to commission, then if your salary is weighted on that commission payment, all right, let's say going to his situation, and he worked for a carpet cleaning company that, his base salary was $20,000 a year, but with all his commissions, he could make up to $30,000. Okay. But the bank wants to see at least 2 years of that happening. You might have a great first year, and the second year, it's in the toilet. All right. So you have to prove that you have this steady income coming in on the commission side. All right. And because it was commission and he just started this job at this carpet cleaning company, they wouldn't approve his loan. So it's so important to get this done beforehand. It really is. So then once you get pre-approved, you decide your must-haves. If a house doesn't have these features, it won't work for you and your lifestyle. So let's say you have about, you have about 4 children. You need at least 2 full baths. If it's a bathroom and a half, it's not going to work for you. So we'll never get out in time for work and school. So that would be a must-have. Then you have your nice-to-haves. These are the features you love to have but can live without. They aren't deal breakers. But if you find a home that hits all the must-haves and some of these, it's a contender. So let's say you want a swimming pool, but you really want an in-ground swimming pool. You find a house that has all those must-haves that you want, but the swimming pool is above ground. You say, okay, I could deal with it. It's well done. It's sturdy. I could live with an above-ground pool. And then you have Dream State. this is where you can really think big. Again, these aren't features you'll need, but if you find a home in your budget that has all the must-haves, most of them nice-to-haves, and any of these, it's a clear winner. So let's say people want a family room and they want to set up an area to watch movies. If they don't have it, they could watch movies in their living room, but if it has a separate family room or a family room over the garage, that will be a dream state. Okay. And then you say, well, this is it, and it's in my budget. I can go for it. And you're a happy camper. So it's best with today's market to do this sort of roadmap when it comes to choosing your home. Okay? So I'm going to hide that from the screen and make myself nice and big. Now, I'm going to tell you something funny. This is actually my second take. For some reason, when I did my first take, the mute button was on. So I did a half-hour show with no sound. You heard the videos, but you didn't hear me talking. When we're talking about videos, I have a nice little video that sums up what we just talked about today.
Feels like the right time to dance the whole night. Express yourself, try something else. Don't take a backseat. You can start living free. It's all in you. Just something new right now. It's the time to make it happen. Turn it up. Nothing holding you back. So just react. Don't stop. Let's start something. Let's start something. Let's start something. Let's start something. Your time is bright.
Okay? So that's a nice little summary about what we just talked about. Okay? Now, just remember on my blog site, and let me get up my blog site address here. Real estate with Mr. G.blog/resource-materials. And actually, you don't have to type all of that in. If you just go to Real Estate with Mr. G.blog and you look at the tabs there at the menu bar, you could click on Resource Materials, and you will then have access to and the ability to download things to consider when buying a home, the spring 2023 edition, just hot off the presses. I get these guides quarterly, okay? It's per season, and it's chock full of information. And then I also have things to consider when selling your house, all right? So you go to my blog site, and you could download them for free. Very, very nice stuff. Very nice things. And I'm just checking my list here. If I did everything that I wanted to do. Okay, let's get rid of that. So I'm hearing from my producer that we have a special guest in the audience.
Chris, great news. We have a celebrity in the audience. He is an extraordinarily intelligent dolphin that helps enforce regulations in the preserve, assists Puerto Ricans with rescues at sea, and keeps a watchful eye on Sandy and Bud, whom he has rescued or helped rescue from danger on numerous occasions. Ladies and gentlemen, America's Flipper.
That's a surprise to have Flipper in the audience. Well, thank you, Mr. Flipper or Mrs. Flipper, whatever you are. Thank you for being in the audience. And thank you for watching today. This is probably the shortest podcast I did, but which is good. I like to keep it under 30 minutes, so I keep your attention. And enjoy the weekend. Monday is going to be spring, I believe. And then as for the economy, we'll find out if they're going to raise rates. We'll find out if our former president is indicted. So it's going to be a very interesting week that's coming up. So, but no matter what, be kind to each other. Remember, the greatest power we have is the love, and the greatest gift, each other. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.